Hey, you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me, as always, is my party partner, Kevin Kenson. Kevin, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. We're doing a bit of a late night recording. Anyone watching the video version of this one gets a purse cameo. He's just hanging out behind me if I can point the right frickin' way. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good today. I found out one of my local theaters does like $7 Tuesdays, so I kind of just said to hell
Mhm.
with it, and I did a uh, double showing today. Saw Superman finally and Fantastic Four. Might make it a thing where I just go every Tuesday, check something out, because $7 is pretty hard to beat. Like
Oh
with
yeah,
most
especially in
theater prices.
California. If you live in California, yeah.
No, like that's part of the reason I stopped going like post COVID was just because like one, like just going back to theaters after COVID felt weird initially, but then it's like I'm spending how much just to get into this place? And like given the local theater, like it's small, it's not like the fanciest projector, the sound system's a little warm, but like I don't know, there's kind of like a coziness to it actually that I kind of dig.
Yeah, I'm a big movie guy. I've obviously been less so over the past few years just because life, but I only really have Cinemark and Galaxy theaters here. And Galaxy's like pretty small um in the grand scheme of things, but they're like the one I like to go to if it's like a big premiere night or something.
Sure.
But Cinemark, I subscribe to like their movie club type thing. And so every month it's like I think in general it's like 20% off concessions and then you get a free movie ticket every month for like 12 $13
Okay.
a month. So and because I've been so busy, haven't been able to see a lot of movies. So like over the past month I saw um Mission Impossible, Fantastic Four, and Oh Hi, all for free, concessions included.
Nice.
So I was just like, because apparently you can use your movie credits for concessions as well. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, just slap that on there on everything. So that was really nice. But I do wish we had AMC here, just because AMC, I know, similar to what you're saying, they have the I think it's like the first showing is considered like an early bird showing.
Yeah, if you
So the
it's like
tickets are only
10
like
a.m. or
five
something.
dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
like
$5. Like, what a deal.
those showings are always funny too because like they're priced kind of matching the ads you get. So like those showings always have the weirdest like specific film ads that you just don't see at like the big premiere night stuff. Like when you go to a premiere night,
Mhm.
you're getting all the big name trailers for all the other big upcoming movies. You go to this one, it's like, yeah, here's this like small indie
I
love
love
Jesus
that shit
film. Like
though. Oh wow, okay. No,
yeah.
but
You
like,
gotta wait till
but,
the end of what I was
but
saying.
when yeah, but when I saw Oh Hi, I saw almost all the trailers I saw were like indie films or like smaller
Yeah.
budget films that I had no idea existed. Like, there's this comedy coming out with Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman that
Yeah.
looks hilarious.
War of the Roses.
And
It's
there's a
actually a
yeah,
remake, I think. Yeah, but
yeah. I'm
yeah,
not.
it's stacked
I
cast.
never watched the original, so but I was like, I love them, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
But that's cool. And so how'd you like Superman and Fantastic Four
I enjoy them all. I
off
feel
the
like
cuff?
I feel like I'm still digesting a little bit. I think between the two, I like Superman a bit more. Um,
I would agree with you.
I like they were both good. I think Fantastic Four, while I liked it more than a lot of the recent run Marvel, I think it still feels a little bit like safe Marvel-y vibe formula a bit. Uh,
Did you watch Thunderbolts?
no, I'm missing that one. I'm gonna have to watch it when it comes to
Thunderbolts
Disney
was
Plus.
really good.
Yeah, I've
Thunderbolts was
heard
really
I've heard it's very good. Yeah, that's I'm actually looking forward to that one. And Superman, I think just had a little more meat. I think the only thing I didn't really like about Superman, and I won't get like too in depth with stuff, I don't love the style they did for Lex Luthor. Like it's a style
good.
that's become more common in his more recent depictions, and I get why, because it's very punchable in an enjoyable way. It's like an easy kind of version of the character to hate, but I also feel like it undermines like how actually risky of a villain he is, like how threatening. Because it's just like, oh,
Hmm.
this is just a dude with like massive and ego envy, and is just kind of a whiner. And like, it's easy to hate the guy and like enjoy when he loses, but like, I feel like it's not as threatening because it's like He's supposed to be this rich, like billionaire, 10 steps ahead, like cold calculating kind of dude, and all the later versions have been more just like, yeah, we really want to go for like this is Musk, you know? And like I get it, but at the same time I feel like it just doesn't make as compelling of a villain to me.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Like, I wasn't crazy about Lex Luthor in that movie. Like, I thought Nicholas Hoult did a good job.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
don't think it was
Nicholas
the
Hoult
actor's fault
is
at all. At all.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, I just think that like I I think we talked about this a little bit on the pod or somewhere else about like kind of what we want from superhero movies nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, like this was good, but like it doesn't really, it can be its own thing, but I also like want to know what the bigger picture is moving forward.
Sure.
Um and you know, kind of like how Marvel does it. But then there are other people just like, oh no, I just want to this movie and
Yeah.
take it for what it is, and like
I
whatever comes next comes next.
I'm kind of down for either approach. It's just that like if you're going to do the overarching thing, like have the foundation for it, you know, which like Marvel did at the start,
Yeah.
and I feel like they kind of lost the plot a little bit once they got into Phase 4. I will say something I enjoyed a lot about Superman is that it does do the whole like it feels very standalone. They don't necessarily have to build it as part of a larger universe, but they don't treat it like that within its own plot. It's not an origin story. It's not like there's just Superman and we're not going to talk about any other metahumans or we need to introduce those in other films or anything. It's like no. All these other superheroes are just also here sometimes. They're just around. They exist. It's a comic book universe.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of people that just exist with crazy powers. And of course, they're going to come up in a storyline like this. Like, it feels like if this were a comic plot, it's so many published issues in where they don't need to go over, oh, we have to introduce this guy and give you exposition on what their backstory is. It's like, no. Green Lantern's here. He's a guy. He's got a bold cut. Don't worry about it. Like, we're just going to move forward. Like, that's this character in this movie as well, And I actually enjoy it a lot. It feels very comic booky to me in a way that, like, 17 origin story movies just don't.
It definitely feels comic booky. It's definitely one of the more comic booky type films. I wouldn't say it feels it doesn't give me that level of joy that I get when I watch the Raimi Spider-Man films, because I think those are like the most comic booky. Like, I think they're so good in that way. But yeah, I liked Superman. I'm excited for Supergirl after the end of that movie. Gave us a little tease on that. Yeah, and then I'm really excited for the Lantern show because I love like Green Lantern. When I used to pick up comic books, like the Flash was always like has always been my go, and like when they did do Shazam comics, I would pick up Shazam. I love Shazam, but Green Lantern Corps, just like the whole concept of the Lantern Corps and the different Lantern Corps is just so fascinating to me. And I love all the characters, so I'm very excited about the show. On my side of things, I have switched over to the dark side, or I don't know. I have an Android now, guys. I switched over to the Android. I had an iPhone, and I had to. I wanted to change networks, so I saved money, and then I ended up getting the Z Flip 7, because I've been looking at the Z Flip just model for a long time, and I just was kind of waiting for it to get to the right point, and I think that the Z Flip 7 was it for me. So this is my first day with it being my official like phone. I've had it like for about a week or two where I just like will play with it like during Wi-Fi, but I had to get to the right point where I could just be like, okay, time to do all the things.
Yeah.
So today was kind of a nightmare a little bit. Because moving networks and then moving from iPhone to Android, like a lot of shenanigans, but it's done. We got it taken care of. And then outside of that, I had a pretty good weekend. Twice headline Lollapalooza in Chicago, had a killer set. I cannot wait for them to go on tour, Kevin. I cannot wait. What else happened? SummerSlam was like a mixed bag and ended really strongly until it was really bad, and like oof about that, y'all.
Yeah,
If you know, you know.
I didn't know initially, and I looked it up a little bit because I just follow enough people that do know, and now I know. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, okay,
that's a whole lot of
yeah,
just going on.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, listen, like, I know people are there are going to be people on the internet. I'm not particularly saying our listeners that are going to be like, "Oh, Brock Lesnar innocent until proven guilty." Like, I get what you're saying, but like, also he is still mentioned 44 times in a suit that relates to sex trafficking and sexual assault. Like, you should not be bringing this man back in any capacity until that case is done. Like, I don't care if like WD, like their legal team says like, oh, he's clear, he's good. No, that case needs to be done, and we need to know that he has nothing to do with any of that stuff. Which, based off the evidence that is publicly available, very unlikely that he is he's innocent. And you know, and then bring him back if he's ended up being innocent. But I don't know, dog. Like it's, I think that Triple H, who's you know the CCO of that company, and I'm not trying to get political on this. Like I'm not trying to make this a political thing. But I also think that me and Kevin have been like pretty like upfront about our ideologies. That like he like very much showing that he does not give a fuck what people think. He does not care about like the political repercussions of what he's doing. But yeah, so that's shitty. That's very shitty. And then what was the other thing that happened this weekend? There was a third thing. Oh yeah, Evo. Evo was this weekend, and it was really good. And a lot of the news for this week is going to be about Evo. But before we get into the news, we're going to go over some housekeeping. If you've been enjoying the show, please go to your podcast platform of choice, give us a 5-star rating. Go to youtube.com/@partychatjrpgpod. Hit the subscribe button over there. It helps us out a lot. If you want to help us out more on the financial side, we do have a Patreon where you have different tiers giving different rewards, including getting the episode a day early, access to our exclusive Discord, our monthly Q&A episode, and Campfire Catalog, which is our book club podcast, which we are currently working on through The Legend of Dragoon and Lunar Remastered Collection. Lastly, go to youtube.com/Kevin Kenson. Hit the subscribe button over there. Kevin just dropped a new video today, right? Or yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday, okay.
Yeah.
I think I watched it like right before I went to bed.
If plans work out, the day this goes live, I should have another new video up. So that still works to say today. Like it works out that way.
Yeah. So we're gonna get straight into the news. Pretty light news week. We do have like a lot of fighting game related announcements. So if you are in that crossover where you love JRPGs and you love fighting games, this will be a pretty good episode for you. The main thing that's worth talking about, I wouldn't say it's the biggest story per se, but like the one most worth noting is that we're getting a Nintendo Indie World the day this pod drops. So like by the time this episode drops, it'll already be out. We'll have our thoughts next week. But Kevin, are there any specific indies that you're excited to hopefully see an update on?
Silk Song, of course. No, that's not going to be there. So we do know it's going to be a 15-minute presentation. I generally like when the indie worlds are like completely focused on new reveals. Like I think, especially when it's indie, it's like there are those prestige big name indies we kind of already know about and are like cool to get updates on. I'm not going to be mad if we get like, you know, a Mina the Hollower update or something, but I think it's always cool if they like use that opportunity to spotlight like here's some brand new stuff to keep your eyes open for. I'm kind of hoping to like be surprised, honestly, for the most part. One game I would be interested in seeing some more of, and this is actually one of the first Switch 2 exclusives we learned about before the system came out. Nitrome is working on a game called Mousework, which is kind of like, it's not WarioWare like style visually, but it's the kind of concept of like very short micro mini games that you kind of have to solve back to back like quickly. But as the name pun implies, it's doing mouse style controls the whole way through. I think the devs even said something about how like, oh yeah, we didn't get a dev kit from Nintendo, so we've just been like doing this for like a regular mouse on PC, and we're just gonna like figure it out once we're able to get a hold of one. Uh, but it's a game that I would like to see like a real update on because they dropped a trailer, kind of a proof of concept one, like before the Switch 2 even dropped, and it looked great. But we just haven't really heard anything since. So I think that'd be a cool one to get an update on.
Cool, cool. Yeah, there's a few that come to mind that are more like we already know things about. Like I think like the one that would be the two that immediately come to mind is Haunted Chocolatier,
Oh yeah.
which is from the dev of Stardew Valley and Witchbrook. I know that people are really excited about that, and that looks interesting. But there's also like some devs that I feel like it's been a while since their first game or their last game came out that I would love to see like a new reveal. Like Happy Ray Games, they're the devs behind Iconfell,
Mm-hmm.
which is an indie game that I very much have heard. I've heard very good things about, and it's like near the top of my indie JRPG list.
And having played it
Um,
myself to the end, can confirm it is very enjoyable. Very good game.
okay, you played it. Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Um, yeah, so there's quite a bit that like we could see. It's only 15 minutes they've confirmed, so it kind of just depends on how much they focus on each game.
Yeah, I feel like we're
Um,
seeing 6 or 7 games total, unless they really blitz through some of them. Like maybe there's a montage of like a couple more. They tend to do that one part, like they did the last direct, right? Where they're like, "Oh, check out all these other games coming to Nintendo Switch consoles or whatever." So like they can fit some more in if there's a montage, but I think in terms of like spending a little bit of time on them, I think we're probably looking at like 6 games maybe.
yeah, and like one game that I think we've talked about on this pod before, but like I definitely think people should keep an eye on. I've played the game myself last year. Very like much work in progress, but very promising. Forge of the Fae, which
Mm,
is this it's basically Sea of Stars, but instead of SNES era, it's PS1 era, and it's like specifically like Breath of Fire, very Breath of Fire inspired indie JRPG, and that not the dev team I believe, but the publisher is releasing Quartet this month,
mm.
and Quartet is and that's a indie game that I'm very much looking forward to. That's like very inspired by Final Fantasy VI. They've mentioned and things like that. So those are Quartet. I believe is only coming out on Steam at launch. So like if you that sounds interesting to you, check it out on the Steam page. And yeah, I think there's a demo as well on Steam. So that is also something I'm very much looking forward to. So yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about what we see next week, but I'm excited. Next story. NIS has announced their next title. The Japanese name is uh Hono Garashi no Niwa. It's supposed to be a life sim type game where you're this kid in a rural town, and it's from the devs that worked on the Yomawari series. And for those that don't know the Yomawari series, it's kind of like this suspense adventure game that kind of has like an isometric or asymmetric uh POV. Um, solid series. So there's that. Does that interest you at all, Kevin? Or are you just like, cool?
Uh, you know, farm sim elements is such a rough thing for me because it's like I'm not like a hater. I don't want to be like, oh, farm sim games, whatever. Like I've tried so many
I
times,
don't think it's
like
a farm sim. I
it
don't
has
think it's
farm sim elements,
oh
right?
well,
Because I know
there
I've
might
seen
be
some
farm sim
gameplay and
elements,
there's
yeah.
like you like said so if we're talking about the same game, right? Like same devs as Yamawari and everything, yeah. Like at least the
Okay.
gameplay footage I saw real quick looked like maybe not the focus of it, but like that is an
Mhm.
aspect of it. And so I just know I have a hard time clicking with that. I'll give it a look once it's fully released and like get some more information on it. But at least just the little snippet I saw, I'm like, oh, that looks neat. Probably won't end up being for me. Maybe we'll see.
Okay, okay. And quick thing, Forge of the Fae does have a demo on Steam, so if anyone wants to check that out, there's a demo there. Next story, Koei Tecmo has announced that a Dynasty Warriors remaster is in the works. They don't specify which game they are remastering, but it is in the works. And there's also going to be a major DLC for Dynasty Warriors Origins Origin that released earlier this year. No details onto what that is and when it will be, but it exists. It's happening. Kevin, are you excited about that?
Yeah, I need to get back to Origin because I was really enjoying it, and it was just one of those things where like multiple games were all coming out pretty back to back, and I ended up just prioritizing others. But I did really enjoy my time with it, and I'm very curious what they could be adding with DLC. Like I feel like because one of the things with Origin is that it doesn't have as many heroes as like most Dynasty Warriors games because the focus is on like you just play as your one character and then you can do like a tag team thing with like the traditional picked heroes. But even with like that incorporation, there's very few of them. It's like 12 out of the whole franchise usually hits like above 50. So hopefully they add a few other fan favorites that just aren't in it quite yet. I know there's a few characters people were sad weren't like part of that aspect of the game. So maybe we'll see a little bit of that expansion with new DLC.
Cool. Yeah. I've heard really good things about Dynasty Warriors, specifically Origins. I just don't know when I'm gonna have the time to get to it, sadly. But I'm excited for Dynasty Warriors fans because those that love Dynasty Warriors love Dynasty Warriors. So very happy for them. This was a pretty cool thing. The next story. So Capcom Fighting Collection 2 is getting a major update. And it's probably the most notable thing that came out of all of the fighting game announcements. Most of them we're going to go over as quickies, but there's two that like were very notable that I wanted to kind of dig a little deeper on. So it's getting a major update. It's coming out the day this podcast drops publicly. It'll be available. It's going to include quality of life updates, brand new artwork, remix tracks from Cap Jams, and they're adding the fighters from the PSP version of Street Fighter Alpha 3 Upper. So these characters were only available on the PSP version, and they somehow stripped them out of the game, and they're adding them to the remaster collection. So it's Maki, Yoon, Eagle, and Ingrid, which is like really cool. Like,
yeah.
I think that Capcom is probably been the leader in the like remaster department when it comes to doing these remasters because they've killed it on the Ace Attorney ones, right?
Yeah.
They've killed it with Mega Man. They're just doing really great work.
Especially when it comes to just like the very direct, like, look, we're just making a playable version of this game and putting it in a collection, right? Like they have their heavier remasters and remakes too, right? Like there's the Onimusha games, we got 1 and 2 remastered. There's obviously all the Resident Evil remake stuff, but like the collections for all of their side-scrolling beat 'em up games, the classic fighting games, Ace Attorney, as you were saying, they just have so many like cool retro collections of favorite old games that I would just, if they could just work Breath of Fire into being one of those, that would be wonderful.
I know.
But so far, still so good. Like lots of great stuff. I just have my preferences.
No, 100%. I mean, Ace Attorney is because I played the first game last year and I absolutely adored it. I was like, this is amazing.
They're great.
And that to the point where I immediately hopped into the next one. And I just, I stopped just mainly because I just had so many other games to play. But that is a series that's like for non-JRPGs, that's probably the top series that I want to go back to and play all like what is it now? 9 games? Yeah, there's 9 Ace Attorneys.
More if you include like if you want to track down a very expensive copy of Phoenix Wright Cross Professor Layton.
Oh yeah, Professor Layton. Yeah. I probably will one day. One day I will definitely nab a copy.
Yeah, hopefully that one was ported in some.
Unless they port it. Please port it.
That would be nice because it's basically the one missing game at this point on like modern systems because it's a collaboration one, right? Like level 5's involved.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's restrictions and things to making that happen, but everything else has been brought up now. So
Yeah, Professor Layton also needs like all those games need to get ported too, but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, so that's going to be out today. Next, Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage is releasing on October 30th for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. A lot of details on this one. I'm going to try and be as efficient as I can with this. So, it's coming out October 30th for PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. For those that already have Virtua Fighter 5 Revo on Steam, you will get to the World Stage upgrade for free. So if you already own this game, like, the previous version on Steam, free upgrade. Bada bing, bada boom. Owners of Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown on PS4 will be able to upgrade to get the PS5 World Stage version for $10, $9.99, and it carries all the DLC that you have over, which is very cool. There's going to be a 30th anniversary edition available for $49.49, which includes the following: a DLC Legendary Pack, a DLC Yakuza Series Pack, a DLC 30th Anniversary Swimsuit Costume Set, which all characters will be getting in that particular set. Virtua Fighter Pre-Production Secret Materials, don't know what that means. Virtua Fighter 30th Anniversary Music Selection, 30th Anniversary Ranking Titles for the game. And then if you pre-order any of the editions, including, if you pre-order any of the editions, it includes the Sega Genesis customization item. The game will have crossplay, rollback netcode, and the new World Stage mode is a single-player mode where you battle through tournaments around the world, and there are CPUs based off of legendary real-life players from, I guess, from like competitive Virtua Fighter history. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not sure. That will be like that they designed for like CPUs for you to fight, which I think is pretty cool. And then Dural, which I believe is like the main antagonist of Virtua Fighter
it's the
5.
final boss in most of the games.
Okay, he's the final boss. So through paid DLC, you will be able to play as Dural. It's just that Dural will not be playable, is not going to be legal in any official tournament. Apparently he's like going to be super overpowered or something. So yeah. And yeah, those are all the main news for the week. We did we'll get to it in the quickies, but we have more Virtua Fighter news down the line. So for the quickies this week, Switch 2 has officially passed 6 million units sold, while the Switch has hit 153.10 million. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tactical Takedown is releasing on Xbox Series consoles and Switch on August 14th. I've heard good things about that game. I very much want to play that game. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising is getting a new character called Wilness. And he's out now for $7.99. Guilty Gear Strive is getting Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners, and y'all need to go and watch that trailer. Go and watch that trailer right now because it is sick as shit. She's releasing August 21st, and then they also confirmed that a 2.0 version of Strive is coming in 2026. And she's going to be $6.99. I know this is the JRPG podcast, but I got to talk about this for a second because the trailer's so sick. So for those that have played Cyberpunk 2077, they put in the hack menu. The hack menu is in her kit, and I also think it pauses time when you're in the hack menu, and it's just like, that's crazy.
I think you have like a moment to be able to like pick what abilities you want to like have go off, because it's like, oh, select 3 and it inflicts those effects or whatever.
No, she actually has the bar currency.
Oh, it's the bar currency. Okay, yeah. But the point is you have time to think about it real quick and select some. I'm sure there is like a limitation on how long you have to with that menu. You're not going to just like indefinitely hold, but they give you a moment.
Yeah, and it's really cool, y'all. Also, if you haven't watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, do yourself a favor and watch that.
Yeah, just like be in a good mood when you start.
yeah, be happy when you start that show. Next, Ken from Street Fighter is now in Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. So technically he's free because every version of Fatal Fury that has been sold has included the season 1 pass. So if you own Fatal Fury, you have Ken. And there's also a 40% off sale, at least on Steam. I didn't check other systems, but at least on Steam until August 13th. And that'll give you everything as well. So if you haven't jumped into Fatal Fury and you want it to now that Ken's in there, I think it's only $36. So not bad. Tekken is getting Armor King. He's coming out on October 13th for early access and October 16th for all users. And then there's going to be a new character named Mary Zoe. Apologize if I butchered that name. She's coming out this winter with a new stage. And the stage is from her country, Madagascar. And lastly, well, actually, no. We did get a Virtual Fighter trailer. We didn't get really any details, but we got to see the game a little bit more in action. Looked cool. Kevin, you're the RGG guy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like it looked cool. I think yeah, I was seeing a few jokes online about how like Virtua Fighter should be the only series that's allowed to like lean into hyper realism and stuff. I'm like, I'm kind of down for that. No, like the way the game they definitely did a little bit of eye candy with like hitbox detection and stuff, and like how you can like narrowly dodge attacks and that kind of deal. I think conceptually it looks great. There's a lot of questions being raised based on like now having confirmation of like who some characters are, because for instance the woman fighting in the trailer, people initially thought that was Sarah, who is like a long time running character in the franchise, but it's actually a new character named Stella, like that looks a lot like her and is dressed like her. So it's like, okay, wait, are we doing like, it sounds like there's going to be a time skip thing going on, even though Akira doesn't look like super old. It also is like a major redesign for Akira, because usually you see him in just kind of like the karate gi and like the his hair up, and
it looks like Kuroda. Like it literally looks like that RGG was just like, "Hey Kuroda, could you come in and let's just scan you really quick?" Like every time I see Kuroda, he looks kind of like that. So I'm just like, "Oh, it's
that is some Kuroda coded drip." You're correct.
Yes,
but no, like it's looking cool. Like we definitely need to learn a lot more details about it. I think they're trying to hold off like giving too much info out, because as you were mentioning earlier, like 5 Revo is happening, and it's like you don't want to deflate too much. Like, hey, like check out this re-release remaster of 5 and like be excited for that and like play that for a while and get ready for this other project. But we don't want to give away like too much yet. So
it's honestly wild how much support, like lingering support, Virtua Fighter 5 has gotten. Because it felt like, I think there was definitely a point where it felt like that game just like stopped. Like, oh, there's no more support in this game. And then they were like, wait, we're back. And then they just like did another like fighting games worth of updates. And it's just like, okay, cool. But yeah. Marvel Token Fighting Souls is getting a PS5 closed beta from September 5th to the 7th. You can register on PlayStation.com. I'm very sad because that is the weekend of a wedding I'm going to in Boston. So I'm going to be across the world when beta's taking place, and I really want to play this game
this year.
Dude, it has been wedding year for me for sure. This is my 3rd wedding in September, but my last one. I don't have any more, so and that's all the news for the week. So, Kevin, you been playing anything? Got any updates for us?
Nothing I want to go too in depth on, because I'm now beginning to catch up on a lot of things that I'm obligated to play as part of us doing this podcast. I actually ended up putting a bunch of time into Lunar because I'd already started that like a ways back. So I was like, all right, let me just like resume this file and start like working my way through again. And yeah, I mean it's Lunar as I remember it, except a lot faster because fast forward in combat and a much more forgiving XP curve. Man, does it make things go by a lot quicker in a good way.
Yes.
It's definitely making the playtime shorter, but like I think we've talked about this before. I always think of Lunar as like a series that beloved, like great games, but I think the biggest strength it really does have is like the storytelling and the vibes. Like the combat's not bad or anything, but it's not really the draw. Like I don't think anyone was like, man, Lunar combat, that was the shit. Like I got to go back to that. Like that's not no.
It's
It's the
it's
storytelling. That's such a huge draw of that
yeah,
game, and it really shines.
no,
I
it
think with
is
this
the biggest
remaster.
draw.
Yeah,
It's the biggest draw for sure, but like because this was my first introduction, is being like, oh, battle speed times 3, go, and just being able to see them fight. It's just like there's something really satisfying about being like doing nothing and just seeing these characters do their thing and just watch them and just be
sure.
like,
Well,
yeah,
it does have a
yeah.
nice like because it played a little bit on because it's turn based, but it isn't like everyone standing in a line where they are. There is positioning, and there are like
It's like an open
times.
field.
Yeah, and like you can't control how they move, but you kind of can with what actions you choose. So like there are interesting ways to exploit. Oh, all the enemies are grouped up, and I have this one move that targets like it hits an area, so let's use that on them. It does have some satisfying like mix ups for its time for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of Lunar, I've been playing Lunar 2. I've played like over the past week or two, I've only gotten to like sit down and play like a small session of Lunar 2. And I I like how the game is more challenging because that feeling of like, oh, this game is immediately more challenging, that has not gone away. There's definitely a point in the game where I was just like, for about probably like 20 minutes, I basically went back and forth between these two towns, just trying to like level up my guys because they were getting killed. Like they were dying. Um, and so, but since then, like I've took out a solid chunk of the game. I got 2 new party members. I forgot what's the blonde girl's name? I forgot her name. But then there's her and then there's Jean, who is like the kind of gypsy uh girl with the green hair. She's like a dancer, but she also throws hands. And she has like this dark past. And I'm just like, yeah, tell me about it. Like I'm excited. But I do like how this what I really liked about the first game was that almost every party member represented something in the world to make me care about those things in the
Mhm.
world. This game, it feels more like there are certain characters fulfilling those roles again, but I just feel like they're more fleshed out. Mainly because like, hey, this is a sequel, and I think that I think in some aspects the devs or the writers wanted to write this game assuming that you knew things about this, like the first game, that they don't have to take the time to go over those things again.
Right.
That they're oh, this is the Mages Guild and this is what the Mage Guild does. Like it's just like, nope, we mentioned the Mage Guild and we expect you to know what it is.
Yeah.
Um, and so it gives more time to focus on the characters and their histories and stuff. And to be clear, like that doesn't mean that like I don't think Nash was not a great character or Mia wasn't a great character. I think like the entire party was great. I think like especially I see the parallels from like certain characters to others from 1 and 2, and I just think that like, oh, like Jean is like a much more fleshed out version of Kyle.
Yeah.
Not particularly in personality, but like in the kind of role that, or the similar like background that she has
Mhm.
compared to Kyle. So yeah, it's I'm really enjoying it. I really need to get back to Legend of Dragoon, but again, that is one of those games much more so than Lunar where like if I'm playing that game, I need to sit down and I need to have like a few hours to play that game.
Yeah. Like you
While
need to
Lunar is
settle
a
in.
much easier hop in, hop out type experience.
We were talking about this in the Discord earlier, and I referenced that. I think Legend of Dragoon, as much as I do enjoy it, and I do think it is overall like a good game, it is a game that I think has friction, and not just in the sense of like difficulty. There's just a couple different things about like the way the game is paced, the way the translation is done. It's like you really need to like bunker down and dedicate time to it to like get through because it's very hard to just like pick up and put like Lunar you can put 30 minutes in and make a little progress and have some fun. uh Legend Dragoon is like, oh no, like I'm setting aside, like this is scheduled time to play this.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like I do have a pretty like set schedule nowadays, but it's also just like that set schedule takes up most of my day. You know, if I'm lucky, I'm wrapped up around 10 p.m. and it's like, okay, like, do I sit down and try and play this game for 3 hours, knowing I got to wake up at like 8 or 9 in the morning to do everything again, or do I just play Lunar until I get sleepy? And then I just go.
I do actually have one other what I've been playing to update on because I started it like right before our last podcast, but I didn't actually play it yet. I did get through the Adventures of Elliot demo that was dropped as part of the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it. I think there's a little work it needs. You already brought up a few of these things. Like the normal difficulty is pretty forgiving. Hard does give a better challenge, but it is also kind of like it's sometimes a kind of a boring version of challenge because it's just like, oh, everything just hurts so much more. Like that's really the one adjustment. It's not like combat tactics need to change or anything. So there are still ways to like just like lay waste to enemies. Yeah, there's a couple things that are a little weird about it. I agree with you. The bow feels a little weak just because there's not like a great like ranged lock on kind of system. It relies on the very old school approach of like you fire in the direction that you're currently walking, and that is very awkward for a long ranged weapon. Like you're much better off sticking with the sword, or you can get this like sickle that's kind of a mid range weapon, and it just attacks in a circle around you, and then its charge attack is like a whip out. So that was a little better.
I don't think I found the sickle.
Yeah, there's a cave.
I don't know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, so there's two dungeons you can go to. One is like the one that you have a map marker for and is like the end goal of the demo. There's another dungeon you can find before that. That's like a kind of a desert themed one with a bunch of like mice enemies that'll burrow underground and pop up. If you navigate through all the way through that dungeon, you'll get the sickle as another weapon type to experiment with. So yeah, it's very neat. It's much more straight up Zelda coded than I was expecting. Like when we first saw the trailer, I was feeling a bit more like on the east side of things, but after playing it, I'm like, oh, this is straight up Zelda. Like you don't level up, you have your specific weapons and things you get. Weapons can get better, but that's like by finding just a new, better version of it. And it's not like RPG style. It's more just like, oh, congratulations, you got cooler sword, and it just immediately replaces the sword you have and you move on, right? Like it's just a straight upgrade.
Yeah. I do think that there is East influence in there for sure. But I definitely think it's like more Zelda than anything. For like absolutely. But yeah, and there is a survey to that game, and there is the very last question allows you to leave any comments that you want. And I highly recommend for those that are game key card people to or don't like the game key cards to put in there, hey, don't release this game on a game key card. And the moment I'm talking about this, I also realized that there was actually a story regarding game key cards this week that I forgot to bring up.
Oh yeah.
Basically in short, the company that makes the game key cards said in like some sort of meeting, some investors meeting, that they want to add a different capacity sizes for the cartridges. And hopefully that means that if they do that, that means we'll get more physical games.
Yeah. It really depends on like what the cost difference is, because part of why these cards are so expensive, like the storage size is part of it, right? Like only having a 64 gig option is not great. But the reason why these cards are so expensive is because of the read-write speeds. Like they needed to make a faster cart to support directly running the game off the cart. It'd be a different story if like Nintendo required you to install every game you own directly on the internal storage, but it doesn't, which is like a cool thing. You can run it off the cart, but then that creates problems. So it needs to be a faster speed, which is why they're so pricey. We're going to get into a little more Nintendo talk for the topic of the show. I do have a side thought about all this. I wanted to bring up to you because I was talking to someone else about this on their podcast a couple days ago. Would you, and I don't think this is a general consumer thing, like I think general consumers would not like this, but would you be down if like the cost to get rid of game key cards was just physical as $10 more, just moving forward? Because that's realistically what kind of has to happen. right? For it to like make sense business wise. Because when these things cost them 10 to 15 bucks a pop
Um,
to use versus a game key card, that's part of why they keep making that choice. So if they ate
I
that
would
cost
say,
by passing it to you, would you be down for that?
I mean, I don't like it,
Sure.
but like if it was either that or game key cards, yeah, 100%. I would rather just eat the $10. But again, like I don't really buy games at launch unless I know that I'm going to play them or it's a game I particularly like really care about. Um just because like I don't need to and I know that the price is going to go down and like
Yeah.
I think that there's rare instances where I'm just like, "Oh, I need to get this at launch." Um like I'm trying to like I think the only game I purchased this year at launch, and granted, that's because we're very fortunate to get codes, and a lot of that has been covered through codes. Of which of games that I will eventually buy physicals for as well
Just
that
coded that
offer
way.
it.
Yeah. We want visible as
Um,
well.
yeah, exactly. Was Donkey Kong Bonanza because I wanted to play it at launch. I knew we were going to get a code,
Yeah.
and and I'm gonna get it physically because it's on the card. So, and I'm not thinking twice about like, damn, I paid $70 for Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah.
I'm just not like maybe if I had to do it more often, sure, but yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna. I'm cool. I would be cool with paying the extra $10. I
Yeah.
don't think that's how it should be done,
Sure.
but I would do
And
it.
I don't think
Yes.
most people would be cool with it. Like I think people would be bothered very much by like having a different price for physical versus digital. It's just
Hmm.
an annoying fact for the specific situation. Because like, discs have been able to never be charged for more because a bundle of Blu-rays costs nothing compared to a high storage capacity, like basically SD card. Like they're selling every time you buy a Switch game, you're buying an SD card that has like high speeds. And so that is part of why they cost the way they do, because it's costing the dev more money. And that's why they keep doing the game key card route. And it's frustrating, but it's like the only realistic reality until, cards also will get cheaper over time, hopefully, as like the tech improves and manufacturing gets better, but that doesn't really
Yeah.
solve right now. Um, yeah, just curious where your vibes are on that.
Yeah. And you agree, right? Like you do the same like
Oh, I would pay the 10 extra bucks. Like if that was the only option, if that was like the solution of like, hey, look, if you want true physical, it's just like this is what it is. And I think they're like, we know that there are like limited print companies that have talked about trying to work with devs to release like true on card options for some of these games.
yeah.
And like that's going to be that kind of situation. Like if that were to happen, if Video Games Plus or Limited Run or whoever strikes a deal to release some JRPG on the card that originally didn't, like let's say Persona 3 Reload, their limited run version of it absolutely is going to be more money than buying the GameKey card one, because like there's that cost involved, and the way
Hmm.
they justify that is selling it for higher.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to get into the topic of the show for this week, and I just thought because we got the partner direct, and like again, we weren't really expecting much, but like I also was kind of surprised it was just a partner showcase. It wasn't like a full blown Nintendo direct. I thought about the idea of just us kind of going through all the major franchises and like the sub franchises of the franchises and be like,
Right.
hey, like what do we when do we expect to see the next game from this series? And what does that look like that type of thing, because
Sure.
I think that there's a lot of potential there, and I'm just kind of curious to kind of run down the mill of things.
Yeah. Let's do it.
um yeah, so I mean, I think we can open the gates with like just talk about Mario, right?
Sure. Yeah. The Nintendo
And
franchise.
yeah. There was actually, and I don't remember if there was really any real backing on it, but I saw there something about there potentially being a rumor of a 2D collection that was going to include New Super Mario Bros. For
Yes.
DS, Wii, and New Super Mario Bros. 2 from the 3DS.
Yeah, I did see this rumor as well.
Yeah. How different is the DS of New Super Mario Bros. Versus the Wii version?
I do not know, to be honest. I played the
Are they
Wii
not just
version.
the same game?
I don't know. I mean, normally when Nintendo does later ports like that, they will change some stuff up and they might get playful with like the other platform, like because the DS is the DS. There's two screens, there's
Sure.
things you can do. I don't know how actually different those two are though. Yeah, I never played the DS version for that one.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool. Like I would get it.
Yeah, I think the new Super Mario Brothers series, like, generally is probably not the most well received, like, run of mainline Mario games. Like, if you want to consider those that.
Yeah.
Like, they're just kind of very safe, flat feeling kind of ones.
Mhm.
I did see who was it that brought this up? I can't remember who I saw on my timeline bring this up, but someone brought up the idea of like, hey, like, I'd be down for this. My dream is that, instead of just porting these, there was some kind of like remake effort where it's like these games in terms of level design and structure, and it's like those games that way, but you bring over
Mhm.
the Wonder art style into them. Like that would immediately make them look more appealing to me. Even if the core mechanics are still playing it very safe. There's just something about doing the 3D art style, the 3D visual style on a 2D plane that just looks not great for those games to
Mhm.
me. Like it just feels very flat. In not the good way that like pixelated 2D is.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm not like I like the Wonder art style. I would be hesitant to say that I think it was like a significant enough difference for me to be like when it got revealed to be like, oh, like 2D Mario got that new art style that it really needed, because I do think that like people were pretty tired of like
Oh yeah.
what the 2D Mario style
I mean,
was for
I will say my reaction to Wonder was like, we're back, baby. Like we have 2D Mario again. Like a true good one was like my first thing when I
okay.
saw Wonder. Like
Okay.
it wasn't
I
just
mean
the
like
art style alone, it was like the new mechanics they showed off and stuff too.
no,
So
the
like,
mechanics were cool.
yeah.
I'm just speaking more so in the art direction of things, where it's like, okay, it's not as like significant of a jump that like, but I also don't know what that looks like, right? I'm not trying to say like, oh, I could have done better.
Sure.
No. But I was just like, oh, okay, like this is cool.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I'm not, if it happens, I'll play it for sure. I'll definitely get it. Like 2D Mario is actually is surprisingly one of my weak points. Like I played the OG, I played 3, I played World, um,
Like the big, yeah. I mean,
and that's
those are kind
and
of the
that's
big
it.
ones, right? Like, I mean, okay, then
Yeah, but
Yoshi's
I feel
Island
like so many
afterwards.
yeah, but I just feel like so many people have played like, the Wii one, and like a lot of people say that New Super Mario Bros. U is like really good. Um,
Yeah, I part of my memory might be tainted for that one because I did really enjoy it, but part of why I enjoyed it is because we played it not the way Nintendo intended you to, which was that the
oh, okay.
person with the Wii U tablet was not a
Was just
helpful friend.
blocking
Yeah,
blocking
yeah.
everything.
No, you give the Wii U tablet to your worst friend. And just let them make everyone else's gameplay a living nightmare, and it was great. I'm not sure how well that translates without that functionality, but
Sure.
we'll see if that even happens.
What And then when we look at 3D Mario, like I think the big thing, right, is Galaxy 2. The fact that we got 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1, but we didn't get Galaxy 2,
Yeah.
it just is bizarre to me. Like even for Nintendo, it's bizarre. And I'm curious, like, if that were to happen, would they do a Switch 1 only release, a cross-gen release, a Switch 2 only release? A Switch 2 only release would be vile. Like that would be fucked
Yeah.
up of
Well,
Nintendo to do
and
that.
the other thing is too, technically, Galaxy isn't regularly distributed for it either anymore. That was part of the 3D All Stars collection that they delisted.
Yeah.
So like, they kind of need to release that again too. So like, do they do a duology? Do they do those together? Do they just get their own individual releases? Do they just get added as part of an eventual Wii NSO? Like, I don't know.
I think whoever didn't get those are SOL. But I also don't think like getting a physical of 3D All Stars is that expensive still. It's still pretty cheap.
Yeah, I think it's like over MSRP, but it's not insane. It's not like you're paying 200
Yeah,
for
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Like, because I have two copies, so I just I that was one thing I'm like I'm not messing around on this one. But yeah, that one just makes so much sense. And I don't think we're gonna get like a traditional 3D Mario anytime soon, especially because we know the Bonanza team
Yeah.
is the one that worked
Like
on Odyssey. So
unless there was a lot of behind the scenes hijinks of like, oh well, yes, the staff worked on this game, but we actually also had some of the other staff over here working on this for a while. I still don't think, even if that's the case, like divide and conquer, I don't think it's going to be the thing where it's Bonanza was last month and then suddenly Super Mario Odyssey 2 is end of this year. Like I don't think we're going to see that kind of
oh no,
turnaround.
absolutely not. No. Like
But I
years
could see
away.
it being sooner than like, near the end of the gen or something. Like I think a 3D Mario is still on like the, next 2 to 3 years horizon.
Sure. Now let's talk about Mario and Luigi because we got Brothership last year,
Yes.
and we know. I feel like Brothership was pretty divided. I know some people that really liked it. I know some people that really did not like it. And part of me thinks that I don't know who it's going to be now with all the Acquire working on their own stuff now. I don't know what studio Nintendo would have do this, but like a Partners in Time remake or a remaster makes a lot of sense to me, especially because they skipped over it in the 3DS era.
Sure.
Or even just ports of the Superstar Saga and Bowser and Bowser's Inside Story again. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. Because they did it with Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah.
They just did that with Luigi's Mansion 2. So like I don't hate it. I would like that. And so that would be something interesting. Do you think that we'll get something like that in the relative near future? Or do you think that
Personally,
series is like dead?
I don't think that series is dead,
After
but
Brothership?
I don't know how much I would put into being like, oh yeah, we're definitely getting some like remasters reports in the next year. Like I think that kind of stuff is definitely possible and an eventuality even, but like I don't know if I'd be like, oh yeah, like 2026 spring. Like I don't see it being anything that kind of
No, yeah.
yeah, like I don't think that series is dead. I think Nintendo knows there's a fan base for it. I think in general Nintendo has actually been leaning into like trying to do more with their RPG subseries, right? I mean, we saw all those remasters, remakes of stuff like Thousand Year Door and Super Mario RPG. Obviously, we got Brothership, which was from a different dev, but like is a continuation of the Mario and Luigi style. So like, I don't think they're abandoning it at all. I think there's going to be future support. What form that support takes and who works on it, that is certainly a question.
Now, next year, it'll have been 6 years since the Origami King. I mean, granted, Thousand Year Door
Yeah.
came out last year. That's fair. But I just really want a port of Color Splash. Did you play Color Splash? I forgot. Dog, when I tell like again, I'm not like now that I've played Thousand Year Door, I'm definitely not gonna say that it's better than Thousand Year.
Sure.
But it sits at that table.
You would rank it higher
I think it sits
than
at
a lot of the other Paper Mario. Yeah.
I think it is easily the second best Paper Mario game. Like for original's great. The original's great. But when I played the original, I kind of was just like, okay, I get the gameplay cycle here, and I'm starting to get tired of it. And granted, like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door also had that gameplay cycle, but they just threw all these funny scenarios at you in each one that it didn't matter.
The energy was different, absolutely. Yeah.
The energy was different. And like, there are things that people will definitely not like about Color Splash. Like the levels are like literally level based, like in 2D Mario, where it's like, oh, world 1-1 and world 1.
Yeah.
But like the creativity and like the localization, again, not as good as Thousand Year Door, but it is damn good. Like I laughed out loud several times. And it's in, people talk about, oh, they brought the sticker, or not the stickers thing, but like the card system back from Sticker Star, and I'm like, it's not bad. It's not that bad, y'all. It's really good. And also, like, what's really refreshing is that I think it's like the first Mario game period that we've gotten where Bowser's kids are like prominent bad guys since
the
like
Koopa
3,
kids.
right?
Yeah.
The Koopa kids, yeah. Since like Mario 3 was like when they were introduced.
I mean, that was their main, like, that's the main game they really are highlighted in. They've made minor appearances here and there. They're in like Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, and stuff. But like that was like
but like
game
each world you're fighting one of the kids, and it's like I really like this. Like this is I was like, oh, finally, like a game where like I'm playing the kids are the villains and stuff. So, Color Splash is really good, y'all. It's really good, and it definitely deserves a second life on Switch. I'm surprised that it hasn't, considering things like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, the game, my number one champion game, got a port. And like there's some other games too that I'm kind of surprised didn't get ports, like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which I do think is going to happen once we get to the Kirby talks. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to bring up Paper Mario because we probably will get a new Paper Mario first. And that I'm kind of torn on because like there's some Paper Mario games that stray like completely away from Paper Mario that I didn't particularly care for, like Super Paper Mario. Like, oh, like it was neat that you tried something different, but this is not what I want.
Yeah.
And then there's like Origami King
is a very good game if you're not looking for what the first two Paper Mario games were like. Like it's just such a like if you go in with an open mind and you just play it as like, oh, I'm gonna check out this like Paper Mario thing, like it's fantastic, it's great. But if you're like, oh, I'm really enjoying these turn-based, Mario RPGs with my fun teammates that I recruit and blah blah, yeah, that's not completely different game.
Yeah. But Origami King, I really liked the adventure. I liked the characters. I liked the boss fights. But normal combat was absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
There was literally no reason to do any fight that wasn't a boss fight. And so that's something that I just want them to finally figure everything out. And if they just like add the Origami King stuff and then bring back combat that like really matters and is really like exciting, that would be like perfect for me. Like I don't need it to go directly back to Thousand Year Door, even though I'm surprised, I'm shocked that they never revisited that.
Mm-hmm.
But still,
yeah.
What other Mario stuff is there worth mentioning?
Well, I think I think
ahead.
One general style that we're going to see something of soon-ish, like within the next year, probably, at least announced, if not released, a sports title of some sort. We don't really know what like Next Level Games or Camelot's been doing lately. Both of them have not released anything since like, I think 2021 was when Mario Golf came out from Camelot, and we haven't gotten something since then. And Next Level Games was Strikers Charged, and that was 22. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of Mario sports title that's just one of those like sub-series that just comes out every now and then, whether it's a new tennis one, they revisit
Sluggers. We haven't gotten Sluggers since the Wii. Bring back Sluggers. I think that's Camelot. They've
done a lot of them, yeah.
But like, okay. But what if Camelot's working on a new Golden Sun?
Don't do this to me. Look.
I'm just saying.
Look, it'd be cool. It'd be cool. I just don't like. I think enough time has passed that I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't even know if like. I don't mean this in like a bad way to them. I don't know if the talent is there in the sense of like. If the staff is interested in doing that, like I just don't know if like those specific team members are still around and if that's like a thing they want to do, because that we haven't had one since 2010. It has been 15 years.
Dark Dawn, right?
Yeah, and Dark Dawn was not great. And since then, it has been nothing but sports games, right? They've done the tennis games, they've done the golf games. I think there's one other like kind of like sport mix one. Yeah, like so. I'm all for Golden Sun coming back. It's hit a point where I'm almost like, does Nintendo hand that to someone else? Like, is there another team they're working with where that ends up making more sense or a better fit? Do we soft reboot it? I love that franchise. I just have no idea what Nintendo can do with it right now, like how they would position that release. I'd be very pleasantly surprised if it happened.
Or even if they did like remasters to like re-gauge interest. Like, I mean,
Sure.
Granted, they put it on NSO, but like I don't know if that's the same. Like if that's like would be something that's fair to monitor in the same way as like a remaster with quality of life improvements and seeing how people would feel about that.
Yeah, and they've done both at the same time before, right? Like we got Link's Awakening on both Game Boy and the like fancier looking remake. So that certainly is a possibility.
Yeah. One that's worth. Oh yeah, just reiterating. Sluggers, please bring us like y'all fumbled Strikers, and that makes me a little sad. Hopefully we get, you give them another shot at that. But Sluggers, please. It's
real quick. I looked that up actually. That was developed by Namco Bandai.
Sluggers?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. No, they outsourced.
Maybe that's why.
Because also I never played it, but I know there was the basketball one 3-on-3, and that's a Square Enix game. Like it's really weird how there's a couple.
Oh, I knew that one. No, yeah.
That are
Tetsuya Nomura has a special thanks in that game. There was a panel that I did, I think it was during PAX West, like a couple of years ago, where it was just like, I forgot what the phrase is, but it's like when you start with one thing and you try and connect it to Tetsuya Nomura. And I was able to connect it to Retro Studios that worked on Mario Hoops 3-on-3 with a special thanks from Tetsuya Nomura. That was my goal for the entire panel because it was just so bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah. One other thing that comes to mind immediately that I think has some promise based off of recent releases, Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I mean that's one that they've kept alive and keep doing, and obviously with Bonanza, like they're going all in on Donkey Kong. I mean, we got to get a new one with that new Donkey Kong design in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, because they remade the original on the Switch, and then there's 2 or 3 that released after that on the Switch, on the Game Boy Advance and DS.
Yeah, there was a one that I think was just straight up called 2, and then the DS one was Mini Land,
like the mini Marios, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a game I need to still pick up and play at some point. Yeah, so that would be cool. Now, here's one that I almost forgot about. And I'm glad that I remembered. Captain Toad.
True.
I would love a Captain Toad too. I'm surprised that we haven't got another Captain Toad game.
Yeah, because all we've gotten was the original release, and then that got re-released as part of the Switch later on. Yeah, I mean that's certainly a franchise they could try to build up on. I think it's kind of a hanging question, right? Because we've only gotten the one. Like we've gotten it twice, but it's still just the one game. So you have to wonder, like, you know, was the return on that good enough that Nintendo's like, yeah, this is a series we want to keep revisiting? Is it one that they're interested in expanding just because they think there's new fun ideas they could explore they haven't done yet? I could certainly see trying to do some silly things with the mouse style controls, incorporating some other ways of interacting with the environment. Yeah, like I feel like that's on the table. Like I don't know if I would put money down on like, oh yeah, we're getting a new Captain Toad in 2 years. Like I don't know if I'm gonna put money on that, but I could see that being in consideration.
Sweet, yeah, I would love a Captain Toad too, absolutely. Kevin's trying to catch a fly, everybody.
There is a mosquito that has been hovering and taunting me this entire podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's worse.
It's very annoying because they love eating me and they leave Christine completely alone. It's they're racist little mosquitoes. I don't know. It's annoying.
So let's get to let's open this can of worms. Let's talk about Star Fox.
Oh, we're skipping Zelda straight to Star Fox. Okay.
No, yeah. I'm just throwing out ones.
Oh, yeah. Look, Star Fox is another one where I think I don't know if just Nintendo knows how to position or use it at this point, right? So that was a series that completely sat out the Switch, unless you count their cameo in that Ubisoft Starfighter game, where you could buy the Star Fox toy and would add them to the Switch version specifically. Uh, I just think Nintendo like I feel like that's a franchise that they have tried so many times to like recapture success, and it just has not happened really at all. Like I think the GameCube one was like solid. It was fine. I don't think that one was like bad or anything. But I think a lot of people Zero kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And they just haven't touched it since. Uh, I also think it's because like Star Fox is weird in that they've essentially like they're not remakes, but they kind of just keep doing the same premise, right? They're like, oh, you gotta go to the Lylat system and beat Andross, and like that's you've done that plot every time. And like there's variations, there are mix-ups, but it's like where can we go, guys? Like what is an actual new thing we can do with this? And there's been some games that experiment with that, but they've all been spin-offs or repurposes, like with what was the one that was originally going to be an entirely different game, Star Fox Adventure or whatever, with the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, where they just were like, screw it, we're just gonna make this a Star Fox game. Never mind. And Command, which was an interesting DS one. Look, Star Fox is close to my heart, and I love 64 specifically so much. Like that is just like one of those magical games I can go back to and play every now and then, and just like, do a sitting and get through the whole thing. I based on more recent history of the franchise, I feel like Nintendo just doesn't know what to do with it, and like I'd almost be more down to just see them do something with Kid Icarus again, and like that'll scratch that kind of shooter itch. Space flight.
So I have one thing that's going to lead into another thing.
Okay.
I think that what would be really smart of Nintendo is to find a notable, not like a, not like the most top of the line that like, but like a notable indie developer, and be like, hey, we want you to make a Star Fox game, and you just let them cook.
Yeah, I mean, I've been barking up that tree a while now. Like ever since Hyrule, Cadence of Hyrule happened, I'm like, yes, lend your IPs to more devs. Like, do it.
Yes.
Like do your homework. Pick the right ones, and I trust Nintendo to do that. But like,
oh, for sure,
let some more people work on your IPs, and they did that with Advance Wars. They handed the remake to
Way Forward.
Way Forward, yeah. So like,
yeah,
do that more.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that I was thinking about this while you were talking, because I was just like, oh man, I'm cooking. Let me cook for a second. Give the Star Fox IP to Digital Eclipse and let them make a game in a similar vein to Power Rangers Rita's Rewind.
Oh, where they
make it like part beat 'em up, make it part you're flying your stuff. Like when I re-looked at the trailer and was like, this gives me Star Fox vibes. And I think that like if you gave them, the keys, I think that they would be able to make something pretty cool. That's just like one that just immediately came off my mind. I'm like, oh, like who'd be really good at like doing like that kind of point of view,
right.
Along with doing something different. And I think that would be a pretty cool idea. But yeah, I think that Star Fox and F-Zero specifically are two of the big Nintendo IPs that like they definitely should just give the IPs to other people if they're not doing anything with it, and let them make something and collaborate with them so that you're doing something with those IPs instead of letting them sit there.
Yeah, Golden Sun as well, I think we can put in that kind of camp. But which is even kind of what I was saying earlier, like just work with someone else and like let them, pick someone that knows the genre, that knows the work and the style, and like have some trust there. And we've been seeing, I feel like that's a trend that's been happening a lot lately with other companies. And again, Nintendo's done a little bit themselves, but like we were talking about these games recently, right? Like Shinobi was handed to Lizard Cube. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was a game made by the Game Kitchen. Like there are indie devs that are suddenly being handed these legacy IPs from the rights holders because they're just like, hey, you've made stuff inspired by our things. Just make another one for us. And I'm like,
yeah,
yes,
no,
do that.
absolutely. that definitely happens, and I wish Nintendo would let that, because Cadence of Hyrule made just so much sense, and it was executed so well. So Pikmin,
The
we got
Nepo
Pikmin
baby of
4 a few years ago. We got all of the games on Switch now. Thank God. That's a series I desperately want to play through. Um, but I have not yet. Do you think we're gonna get like a Hey Pikmin 2? What is Hey Pikmin anyway? Like, what is that game like? Because I know some people liked it, some people thought it was like whatever.
I honestly don't really know the particulars on that one. Like, I know
Oh
that's
man,
a side
okay.
game, but Pikmin is not a franchise that I ever got like super into. Uh,
Really?
no, that's just
I feel I feel like you'd really like Pikmin.
yeah, I've been told, and every time I start a Pikmin game up, I'm like, yeah, this is neat, and then I just don't. It whatever for whatever reason, they just haven't clicked with me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, like I've been wanting to start Pikmin for a while. Like there was a point when I was like thought I was going to like stream again more, and I've had this sitting right here for like months now. I've got my Pikmin 1 and 2 copy just sitting here because I've been wanting to stream it, but I just haven't had the time. But yeah, uh, you know, I want this I want this franchise to continue, and it's going to continue as long as Miyamoto's above ground.
Oh yeah, no, that is his beloved. There's a reason why Pikmin gets the degree of representation it does in merch and in places, and yeah,
Yeah.
like that is a close to his heart one.
Yeah, so thankfully that is the case because it's just such a unique IP that I like want it to continue. But I don't think we're gonna see anything from it like anytime soon per se. Maybe a Hey Pikmin port, but
Yeah,
or maybe a new Hey Pikmin, but I don't particularly see.
yeah. I mean, the
Um,
the pace of that series, it's hard to judge because of like how many of the releases are remasters and ports, and then obviously side games like Hey Pikmin. But like they have a decent cadence of, I think, like there's a major title roughly every 3 years. Um, and so with 2023 being when they dropped Pikmin 1 plus 2 and Pikmin 4, like, yeah, I mean, not this year, but like the timing might be right to see something from the franchise next year.
yeah, it's possible. But I
Yeah.
don't particularly see much, but
Yeah, I will
um,
say I don't think we're gonna get like Pikmin 5 next year. But if they did
oh, absolutely
like
not.
yeah, as you said, like if they revisited Hey Pikmin or they did some other kind of like Pikmin IP spinoff, I could see that happening like next year, potentially.
Now, I do want to go back to the Mario IP really quick because there's one IP that we mentioned but we didn't dig deep on that I definitely want to. Luigi's Mansion 4? You think that's coming? Because I feel like that will be level ups or next level's next game is Luigi's Mansion 4. Because they did
Yes.
Battle League after Mansion 3.
Yeah.
It kind of only makes sense that they're going to do 4 next. Because do we know who worked on the 2 remaster? Was that next level as well?
I'm not sure, but I can check that out real quick. Let's.
Yeah, while you're doing that, because I think Louis, even though I haven't finished it, and that's mainly just because I haven't taken the time to do so. Like, dude, it's so tough, dude. Being a JRPG fan is so tough when you want to play all these other games and you just don't have the fucking time to do it. But like, Luigi's Mansion 3 is like definitely it's probably in my top 3 of like original first party Switch games, like from Nintendo that generation. Like, it was so good.
Yeah. Uh,
Um,
it does
I
look
don't
like
know
it
if you
was.
you played it, but
I was just gonna say real quick. It does look like 2 was ported by a different company. That was. I'm sure like Next Level's name's attached, so they probably had some contribution. But that was
yeah,
handled by a company called Tantalus.
okay. Did you play Luigi's Mansion 3?
I need to. That's one of my shame ones.
It's
I know.
so
I've heard so
good,
many good
dude.
things, and that's a game I actually do feel bad about being on my backlog. Like I feel like I really need to get to that one.
Like, I don't remember what other games came out that same year. I think it was 2019 when that game came out. And I was like, when I started playing it, because I played probably like the first like 25% of that game, I was like, why aren't people talking about this game more? This is so good. Like, and it's incredible.
Yeah. Not to mention uh like probably one of the most beautiful running games on that system. Like both in terms
Yeah.
of like what it achieved visually and how it like smoothly ran while doing it. Cuz like there are
No,
games
yeah.
that like look better than it, but like they run like crap. And there are games that run as smoothly but don't look nearly as beautiful. Like that game is probably the best like example of what you can do with optimization on the original Switch. Just gorgeous looking for
Yes.
the hardware.
Yeah, I would argue that they out Nintendo and with that game. Um it was really, really good. Um so I would love a one, I would just love a port of Luigi's Mansion, like a proper port of the first game. But
Yeah,
I would
I feel
also
like we're due for that. Like it's very odd how 2 got like ported and remade as soon as it did compared to 1.
yeah, I think the mindset there was like, oh, so we released Mansion 2, we ported Luigi's Mansion, and then we're gonna port Luigi's Mansion 2 before
Sure.
we potentially do anything with
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't particularly want to play Luigi's Mansion again, or like for the first, or like a replay since GameCube on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Because I don't like how the 3DS feels in my hands comparatively. But I have my copy just in case. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I forget actually, the first one did not show up on that GameCube NSO like coming soon list, right? That was not part of that.
I believe it is.
Oh, is it? Okay, so then that would be how they'd handle that. We wouldn't get a proper port if that's just going to show up there as an option. Because that's the
Uh,
thing too for a lot of the GameCube era stuff at this point is that like, oh well, now we have GameCube NSO, and I think honestly for the Wii era as well, because I do think Wii NSO is like not that far away. It's if you can do GameCube, it can do Wii.
okay, so it got confirmed, but it's not out yet.
Yeah, it was on the list of like upcoming like because I mean when GameCube launched, it was like 3 games, and they were like, oh, look forward to all these other ones that are going to be coming.
Yeah,
Like
like
with
Path of
Fire Emblem,
Radiance, which is
exactly.
like
That's like the big one because
yes.
it's like I don't please don't make me spend $180. Like give me a way to play this.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now they just got to do Radiant Dawn. But yeah, what else? What other IPs are we thinking about?
Well, I mean,
Xenoblade.
yeah. I think
Give me
Xenoblade.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Give me that remaster. Give me that game where it looks good and it runs good, unlike that what that is on the Switch. Because I still stand by that is the best Xenoblade Chronicles game. It just but boy, you had to push through. You had to push through that
Yeah,
game.
I actually haven't really tested how 2 looks on the Switch 2 as far as like I'm sure it handles the dynamic resolution scaling better, but there are still some limitations to just like how that game was programmed for the system. I feel like that's just due for like a patch or an upgrade path, right? Like I don't see that. I don't see them doing a full re-release. I mean, like
I think they will.
you think Xenoblade's like that? I mean, obviously it is a strong dedicated fandom, but like it's a Switch game. Like it's not like a Wii U title or something.
So my thought process is no, that's totally fair. That's totally fair, and I get what you're saying with that. My thought process is that they've done a definitive edition for 1 and X, and they're just gonna go in order. And I think that like maybe not Nintendo, but Monolith probably like recognizes that like, hey, like we got these games to work on these systems, but they're not in the particularly in the quality that we want it to be, and we already are doing these 2 other games, so why not do the other 2? Because like Xenoblade people, like the people that come for Xenoblade are going to buy those games.
Oh, sure.
Like you know what I mean? So I don't think
Yeah.
I think that is an IP that's like worth putting in the effort, because the people that are always going to show up are going to show up for that.
Yeah.
Like I do think that even Xenoblade Chronicles 3 like didn't look super great visually on the Switch. It looked better than 2, but because they like learned
Yeah, they figured
to
out
work
optimization
that
better.
system
Yeah.
more. Yeah, to optimize that system more, but like still not great. And I just would love to see a patched up remaster of both of those games.
Yeah.
Personally, especially two, but
Yeah. I feel like
both ideally.
I lean more towards re-release with like a patch upgrade path maybe. I just don't know if I necessarily see it being like branded as like a full-blown remaster. Um but
I don't know.
we'll have to see. That's just a very much up to how they want to dedicate resources, cuz obviously there's going to be whether they use numbering or not, there's going to be a next Xenoblade on the way, whether they call it 4 or whatever.
There's gonna be his next Xeno game.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a next Xeno game, and like that's just going to happen. That's an inevitability at this point. It's
yeah.
way too. It is an established franchise now, especially on the Switch moving forward. And Nintendo basically owns them at this point, so outright. So I feel like that's I think that's more on the horizon sooner, personally. Like I think in terms of the next like Xeno project, I think it's the next like actual new release. I think that
Yes,
Monolith is
I
going to
agree.
be busy working on multiple projects, no matter what, because they do a lot of collaborative development. Basically, any big open world game that's for the Switch, they're like, "Hey, Monolith, can you help figure this out?"
Yeah,
So they're being kept busy. I think in terms of like the next game to bear, like from Monolith specifically and not in collaboration for anything else, I think it's like the next entry. Um,
I agree with you. I think that's. I wouldn't be surprised if Xenoblade 2 remaster came first, but like if I had to put money on it, I would say that it would be
I could see 2 happening first
the next.
if it was an upgrade path. If it was like an actual branded like definitive edition kind of release where like they add content and like redo the art style a little bit, like redo full textures and terrain. I see that being later, but who obviously we're just grasping at straws here. So
Yeah, we're totally this is all theorizing ideas. Fire Emblem.
yep.
I feel like this is, naturally one of the ones we talk about the
I
most.
mean, I think Fire Emblem is
Um
kind of the waiting for shoe to drop kind of game, right? Like I feel like that's the game more than I think any other, like other than 3D Mario, which we now have a better feeling about because we know Bonanza was made by the Odyssey team. Like Fire Emblem is the other franchise where for a good like year and a half now, the energy is like, "Hey, it's kind of about time, right? Is it about time?
yeah.
Like where are we at? What's going on?" And maybe 4 remake got canceled or never really existed or plans changed or what, I don't know. But there is got to be a Fire Emblem release within the next like year and a half. Like I think the timing is we're approaching that timing very rapidly. uh
Um yeah, I think that I definitely think we're we're due for a Fire Emblem game. But I also think that kind of like with Monolith, we kind of have to put into perspective what how
Intelligence
like
system
how they are
works on.
also a support studio. They helped with WarioWare Move It, which we haven't talked about WarioWare. But WarioWare Move It and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door
Yeah.
since Fire Emblem Engage came out.
Yeah. I mean,
So
Paper Mario is like their series. Like they did Origami King as well. So like that is kind of the juggling there.
that's true. I actually forgot about that.
Yeah.
So like they could be working on the next Paper Mario.
I think Fire
Uh
Emblem's next up before another Paper
I
Mario.
do think that too. I do think that too. To be clear. But I do think that they're also working on a new Paper Mario.
Sure.
And that could also play a part into all that as well. And you know, I know that people we've already said this before. I know that people probably want a new entry. we want 4 remake. Give us the 4 remake. Give us that shit. That's what we want.
Yeah, that's where I lean. I mean, like, I'm down for a new one as well. Like, I'm not going to be mad. Like, if they announce a brand new
Oh
one
no.
and like it's like, oh, four
Well,
remakes never happening, like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, give me the new one. Like, I'm down for that too.
I won't be mad as long as it's not Three Houses treatment. I don't
True.
know.
Yeah, you don't want
I
Three
don't.
Houses
I
too. Yeah, I'm of that mind as well. Like, I think we talked about this a little bit before because I think you're of the mind, even though you don't want it, you think it's more likely to happen, just because Three Houses was as successful as it was. Um,
I do. I do think we're gonna get something in a similar vein. If I had to if I had to put money on it, I think that Fire Emblem moving forward is going to be in a place where we're gonna get something that's like Three Houses, and then we're gonna get a more traditional game. Kind of, Engage is a little bit of a outlier because it was like a celebration anniversary
yeah,
type game, but like something along the lines of like, hey, Three Houses Awakening, Three Houses Awakening, like
sure.
that kind of trade off, and then like we'll get like remakes, remasters sprinkled in there as well. That's what I would like assume, because Fire Emblem Three Houses just like blew up. Like, we always like give thanks to Fire Emblem Awakening for being as successful as it was, because that was supposed to be the last Fire Emblem game in the West. This was like a whole nother level,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah, I do
and I think that
wonder. There's not a
go ahead.
great way to get data on this. I do wonder how much of it was the schedule system and like Persona vibes versus the Switch itself just has that larger audience. You know what I mean? It's like Pokemon Sword and Shield did bonkers numbers compared to past Pokemon games because the Switch just had way more people like with systems compared to the 3DS. And I don't know if Nintendo has their own
Hmm.
data that would suggest one way or the other. I mean, I guess you could compare how well Engage did, which Engage did not do as well as Three Houses. But I think Engage had a couple things going on that rubbed people a little weirdly. So
Yeah, I would say it's probably just because of the style of Three Houses. Like they introduced like these casts and like choosing a house, and people one like uh people love Harry Potter, and
true.
people love
But like
that kind of
the
concept, and
factional
like
thing doesn't have to play into a schedule thing though, because like Fates basically worked that way, except you had to frickin' buy a dedicated game for which side you wanted. Uh, you can do a faction game without
yeah.
doing the schedule.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think just like it all being in same game really helped that.
Oh, for sure.
I don't like I think that part of it definitely has to do with just the numbers of the Switch, but I also don't think I think that ultimately it was because of the design of Three Houses. Because I know people that played through Three Houses and like didn't play a Fire Emblem game before. They played through that game like 3 or 4 times. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Like, absolutely not, dog. Like, especially with how long you're basically saying, like, oh, I played through Persona 5 like
I mean, this
3 or 4 times back to back.
multiple playthroughs go by much faster than the first one because like the
Sure,
first act
sure.
is basically the same outside of like two cutscenes. there's like little variances, but like it goes like other than talking to the students, like that's really the biggest time drain, right? Is just like developing those support combos and going through all the new ones when you're doing a different house, which you can recruit from other ones. You kind of know some of them already. But anyways, yeah, like I think we're due for I think that's Intelligent Systems' next release is something Fire Emblem, whether that's for remake or a brand new entry. Um, I agree with you. For remake would be my preference, especially just because I really like how they handled doing Shadows of Valentia. I like the style of that one a lot. I think there's a bit of a darker tone to it that I would love to see revisited for doing four. But who knows? Supposedly that was a thing being worked on for a while, and here we are.
Yeah, we'll see. There's been rumors about just a bunch of different remakes in the Fire Emblem series, so I don't know. At this point, it's just like just show me or shut up.
Yeah.
uh, Now we've talked about this before on the pod. Uh, what do you think are the chances that we will get a Super Mario RPG 2.
I mean, I want to believe.
Yeah, but you
But
know, if you gotta
realistically,
take your bias out of
yeah.
it,
No, I know.
because that is the last game that Arte Piazza, Piazza uh is known to be working on, and that was 2 years ago. Um, and so, and like normally they've worked on like the Dragon Quest games, they've done stuff with Square Enix.
Yeah. Well, they're primarily ports and remasters is the thing, right? Like that's kind of what that
Yeah,
dev does.
yes, that's true. But you know, it could be a situation kind of like Grezzo with Link Awakening remake, where they're like, "Hey, you did this.
Right.
Let's do this. Let's do this sequel." Because like, surely Square knows that people want it. And I think at this point, it's just like if Nintendo wants to play ball to make it happen. Um, and I don't. I think we went over like the sales numbers. I think it did hit over 2 million units sold. So I definitely think that there's an audience for it. Uh, but yeah, I'm
I
just kind of curious.
I would like that. I think so because part of this too is the fact that like Square and Nintendo are much more buddy buddy now than they have been in a very long time. Like during the Switch
Mhm.
era, like they not that they never worked together between the SNES days and the Switch, but it was always kind of like we'll give you this specific game for handhelds, or we'll give you this specific game for like the Wii motion control stuff. It really wasn't until the Switch where you really feel the energy of like, oh, Square Enix and Nintendo are like buddies again. And like we were just talking about this with the Direct, right? Like I feel like the biggest third-party company to show up at any Nintendo Direct is Square.
Yeah.
And so I don't think the relationship there is an issue for like collaboratively working on a new Mario RPG. My biggest hangup or worry there is just that I think the moniker of like Mario RPG has run its course. Like I think like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi have just kind of become the champions of like the concept of doing a Mario RPG. And while it's great that they brought back and remade the original, I don't know how much that signals like, okay, let's do it too. Uh, I would certainly love for that to be the case. Like put Gino in something again. uh, but this is one of those one, and maybe because of my bias of wanting it is also why I'm like more reluctant to think they could do it again, because I'm just like don't give in to hope.
Yeah, again, like if I think that I think it's pretty 50-50. Like if it got announced, I would be hyped. I'd be like, let's fucking go. But if it never happens, I'll probably be like, yeah, you know, that makes sense. So uh who knows? We'll see. Kirby.
Kirby.
We got Forgotten Land a few years ago. We're getting the updated re-release. But we haven't got a 2D, like a new 2D Kirby in a while. We got that like near the early years of the Switch, with Star Allies, right? And then we got the two remasters with no, was it two or just one remaster? We got Return
We got
to
Return to
Dreamland
Dreamland,
Deluxe.
and I think that was it. Because they didn't
Okay.
like bring back any of the Epic Yarn games, right? Those got ported to like 3DS, I think, but those didn't come to Switch.
Those are on, yeah.
Yeah, so
Um
I think Return
so
to Dreamland is the only one that like was a 2D remake that came to Switch, and then yeah, as you said, we obviously got Forgotten Land as the big 3D release, um, and Star Allies was
and then we're
another one.
getting Kirby Air Riders um
Yeah,
apparently later this year still.
yeah.
So
That should be. They have not announced a pushback or anything for the what 4 games they have that are undated at the moment that are supposed to be 2025.
yeah.
Yeah, which I mean that just
Uh
fuels more. I've certainly seen speculation that there will be a traditional direct in like September. We just came off of finally getting the partner direct in July, so it's like, well, that was a partner direct. There's got to be like a true direct then still, right? September, and like that certainly makes a degree of sense. And so maybe that's when we'll finally get locked in dates for all of these games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
think because of
I
Air Riders, I know it's not like a traditional Kirby, but I think because that is like the next big one being worked on, and it is with Sakurai involved. Um, I think that just kind of cancels out any other, like, sure, there probably are other Kirby projects in early dev and consideration, but like Air Riders is definitely the immediate next thing to be ready for.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think if we do get something, because I don't know the team that did Star Allies, but I think
That was
that
internal. That was
if
Hal.
that was Hal, okay.
That was Hal. Yeah.
Um, so I think that we will probably get a remaster of something um down the line. I don't know exactly which one, but I think that's like kind of the most likely thing. Um, so yeah, Kirby's got stuff going on.
I do wonder,
Yoshi, go ahead.
just to throw out one random thing for Kirby, something that it seems like Nintendo might experiment with doing is because, like, even though the Switch has a touchscreen, Nintendo has not liked having games use the touchscreen because that makes it a handheld only mechanic.
Yeah,
Therefore you can't play it docked. I do wonder if the mouse functionality opens up the possibility of doing something like what was it, Canvas Curse? Is that what it's called? The DS one where you like build the
yeah,
pathways for Kirby to go along. I do wonder
uh-huh.
if there's room for re-exploring that game on Switch, thanks to the mouse functionality.
It's
Like you do mouse
it's
style
possible.
for dock and touchscreen for handheld.
Definitely possible. That'd be interesting for sure. Uh, yeah, Yoshi. We haven't gotten something since Crafted World, long time. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a new Yoshi game before the end of next year.
Yeah, because what has Good Feel been doing lately? Because they did Princess Peach Showtime. That was their last release.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh, yeah, so that was 24. And before then, they had a couple other releases, but definitely the big tentpole ones were the Yoshi games, and before that, the Kirby's Epic Yarn stuff. Um,
So
and so,
they helped with a game called Monkey Barrels. They helped with a game called Bakaru, and then they did Princess Peach Showtime.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so for perspective, they released Yoshi's Woolly World on Wii U, and then released Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World on 3DS
yep,
2 years later. So I knowing that they did Princess Peach Showtime, which I did not know, probably gonna be a minute
a
before
little
we get
farther
another
out.
Yoshi game.
Yeah, unless we
Yeah,
get some kind of other Yoshi title. I don't know. They revive Yoshi Cookie or something, but like the ones that are like the kind of vaguely Mario-ish, 3D or 2D platformer. Unless they hand it to another dev, assuming it sticks with them, we're probably going to wait a little bit.
yeah. No, that makes sense. Uh, Metroid. We're getting Metroid Prime 4. Uh,
Eventually, supposedly, God damn it.
but man, I really hope after 4 comes out, we do get ports of 2 and 3. I want the entire series on.
Yeah, it feels very bizarre that one got remastered and then they kind of just left it be there. Especially with how long four has been taking, right? Not that the one remaster was super long ago, but it's been long enough now. Uh,
Yeah, it's interesting because Retro, before that Retro just did they did the Tropical Freeze, right? That was like their last game before that.
yes,
Um and
yeah, I think
so
they
I'm
might have done some support stuff, but as far as like this is what Retro Studio is doing, yeah, that's the big thing.
so according to what I'm seeing here, they worked on all the Metroid Prime games, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Mario Kart 7. It's I don't know if they were like the lead dev, but okay, they co-developed that with EAD.
Hmm.
So that's actually pretty interesting. And then they did Tropical Freeze, um, Metroid Prime Remastered, and then Metroid Prime 4. So that that was like a 5-year gap. That was a pretty significant gap. And so I'm curious as to, especially considering it was a 4-year gap between the Wii U release and the Switch release of Tropical Freeze. And so I'm curious as to why they're like out of all their studios, like Retro specifically has been like taking so long with stuff.
Well, I know
Um
Prime 4 went through, like, they did restart, and there were they haven't just been working on that. Like, I mean, they have been, but like they restarted, and so I know there was a lot of like lost time and effort that happened as a result of that. Uh, but yeah, maybe there's other things they've been working on. I mean, if you believe every Nintendo leaker out there, supposedly Prime 2 and 3 have been done ready, and they just are kept in the back pocket until Nintendo has a window they need to fill. Uh, but
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense. And yeah, so this is according to Wikipedia, so but apparently before Metroid Prime 4, they were working on a game called Honey, and it was supposed to be an RPG that had singing mechanics. And then the game was canceled to work on Metroid Prime 4. That could come back after that. They could just. I just don't want Retro to be the Metroid Prime studio. Like, I love Metroid. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure the Metroid Prime games are. I've only played 2D Metroid. I'm sure they're great. Everyone says great things about them. I just, I want them to do more things.
yeah. And I don't
And
think
so,
I don't think they're going to be trapped in it just because like I think Prime 4 became the thing and it turned into a whole thing, but it's not like they did like nonstop just Metroid Prime. Like they were doing Donkey Kong stuff until Bonanza got taken over, and even then, you can argue that's kind of a separate series, right? Because Bonanza is returned to 3D, whereas Retro was
yeah,
working on 2D Donkey Kong Country style games. So there could still be a space
that's
for that,
fair.
you know. I think when
But
talking about Metroid, the thing that occurs to me, aside from obviously like where are Prime 2 and 3, 2D Metroid, because Dread, believe it or not, it's been 4 years. That was 2021. And before that was the remake of Samus Returns on the 3DS, which I want to say was like 2017. So that was a 4-year gap. Mercury Steam, who is the dev responsible for those games, has been working on other stuff and been working with other companies. But as far as
yes,
their Nintendo partnerships go, they have been the 2D Metroid team for at least those two titles. And so I wonder if there's room, if there's plans to either do another remake similar to what they did with Samus Returns. Do we get a coat of paint on Super Metroid or something? Do we get some of the Game Boy Advance ones brought back in some form? Or do they just do another new 2D one like with Dread? Um,
can I
I
can
think
I
there's
can
room for
I
that.
can I say something potentially controversial?
I know you didn't like Dread.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't like Dread, and but I'll also go. Well, it's not I didn't like Dread. It's just not what I wanted for Metroid, and I just like, yeah, I don't think it's a bad game. It's
No,
just not what I wanted.
sure.
Um, that being said, I don't, I don't want another Mercury Steam Metroid game
Mm.
because the two that they have made are my two least favorite, and so like I don't know who, and I don't know if like particularly Mercury Steam is like the issue, the developer was the issue, or just like more like just the design of things. Because like Samus Returns was like fine,
Yeah.
um, and I know that notoriously Metroid 2 is like the worst Metroid, um, and then like Dread again, like it was good, well made game, just not particularly what I wanted from Metroid, um, and so I'm just kind of
Maybe hand it to someone else.
like give someone else another crack at it because I don't know. Like I wasn't,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
again, it's only been the
So
two games, so like, it's not like that's like a hard entrenched like, oh, we have to be, this is the Metroid 2D team. Clearly, Nintendo's open to exploring working with different teams, like how they suddenly did 3D Donkey Kong with their Odyssey team. So like, yeah, there's room for a change up in there. I guess the main takeaway, right, is that it's been 4 years since Dread, and while I don't think they're going to shadow drop a new 2D Metroid the same year as Prime 4, I wouldn't be that surprised if it was like a late 26 or early 27 kind of deal.
uh, I still think that's a little soon, but I could see something in 27.
If it's
And
well,
because
it depends on the form it takes, right? Like I think if it's a remake of something already made, I think there's a little more room for speed on that. But
if it's like a remaster of like Prime 2 and 3 or something, like I could see it being earlier.
yeah,
If it's like a new 2D or Metroid or even a remake of a other 2D Metroid, like if they remade like Metroid Fusion, um, uh, which I wouldn't be opposed to, that I think would be more like, probably like fall time 2027. And kind of like with Dread, like I don't think there needs to be a super long wait for that, because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, they announced it in the summer and I was like, oh, it's coming out in October. It's like, oh shit, like that's quick. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, Nintendo in general has been keeping a lot more games close to the chest until it's like, here it is. Like I think they broke that
Yeah,
rule a little bit with the Switch 2 reveal because they wanted to like be like, hey, here's all these upcoming games like for the Switch 2. Like here's all
yeah.
these things to be excited for. But generally speaking, especially post COVID, Nintendo's been very much into the like, we announce it and it's coming out in like 4 months. Like that has definitely been more their MO the last like 3-4 years.
They have definitely been doing that more often, and I think that the only real time that that wasn't the case was Tears of the Kingdom, and that was just because it was just so anticipated.
People were asking a lot.
And
Yeah.
it did get delayed, so
Yeah. Yeah. It
which
and
is a
Metroid Prime.
rare
Yeah.
Nintendo thing.
Yeah. It and Prime 4 are the two recent examples of like, what's going on with this? Where is that?
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
Prime 4 was announced before Tears of the Kingdom and is still not out yet. So, but it should be this year.
Yeah. Uh, Kid Icarus. Not happening anytime soon,
No,
King.
yeah,
I'm
that
sorry.
the moment Air Riders was announced, that put Kid Icarus Dreams like
That dream.
unless they hand it to a different studio to like port and remake or remaster the 3DS one, like maybe that could be a potential thing. But like a brand new one, unless they wanted to like reboot it again with different gameplay again and hand it to a different team, yeah, I don't see Kid Icarus happening anytime soon. And then like I I mean it's Nintendo and we've already talked about it a lot, but like Pokemon, right? Like we're getting
Yeah, we
ZA.
we 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 know what that's gonna look
Gen
like.
10
We
is
know
like
what
probably
the
next year. I
yeah.
hope we get more cool spin-offs, but it's probably all going to be mobile stuff for a while still. There we go.
Uh, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
How are we feeling about that? That's because I have literally negative horse in that race.
I mean, yeah, I don't like outside of putting a little more time in than I would have otherwise because oh god, it was a pandemic. Uh I that is a series I never got like super into. That's definitely much more Christine's territory. Uh but like it's been a minute, right? Because we got obviously New Horizons was back in 2020. It got an expansion a year later, 2 years later. When did that like whole home designer thing for that?
Oh
I
yeah,
can't
that home designer update. I think that was 2022
remember. 21
or
actually. It was
2023.
it was 21.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Uh, it might have been like later in the year, so like with the original release being early in 2020, and then yeah, and then didn't they do? Oh, there was just the release of that like different version of the mobile game because they discontinued service on like the free to play version of it. So yeah, like we haven't had a proper new one since 2020. Uh, at least looking at this timeline right now of like mainline releases, yeah, like we're kind of due. They had a pretty significant gap between New Leaf and New Horizons. That was 8 years, but obviously that doesn't have to hold true for this next gap. So we're at 5 years later now. Um, yeah,
I'm curious about Animal Crossing in the sense of how of Nintendo's like mindset when it comes to this next Animal Crossing on like, oh, everyone's gonna buy it because everyone bought it last time, or are they gonna like kind of reel in their expectations because there was a pandemic during the release of that game,
Right.
and that led to so many sales of that game. Because do you think that whatever the new Animal Crossing is, well, it's hard now, right? Because we're on a new console and there's less people that have much less people that have the Switch 2, but like in a hypothetical where like the amount of people that had a Switch 1 have a Switch 2, a
I
new Animal Crossing comes out, do you think it's going to like sell the way no.
No, no.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, look,
agree with you.
I think it'll probably sell better than it would have in a different timeline where, like, you know, the pandemic didn't happen and Animal Crossing didn't get the same numbers. Like, I think there are new
Yeah.
converted fans that would not have existed otherwise. But I don't see it hitting that same level because there are absolutely people who picked up New Horizons because they were like, well, I know a lot of people doing this. Gary Wood is doing a talk show in it, so I might as well check it out. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I don't see them repeating. I'm also curious if the timeline for a new one might get impacted by Tomodachi Life coming back, because those aren't identical, but they kind of scratch a similar itch. And so I wonder if that comes out first, and then there's like a year to breathe in between, and then another Animal Crossing drops.
Tomodachi, I feel like is definitely one of the more sickos.
Yes. No, it's a more specific fan base, but like it still occupies a similar genre and space.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would be more inclined to play a Tomodachi game than I would play an Animal Crossing, if I'm being completely honest. But I think that the Tomodachi is a niche audience for sure. So maybe I definitely think that at the very least they're going to be like, hey, we want to hit a certain threshold of Switch 2 sales before we release a new Animal. I think that is definitely something that they would want to look at, and I think that when they announce it, there's going to be an uptick in Switch 2 sales. I think that's going to be one of the few big Nintendo releases where people, when it's like, oh, this is Switch 2 exclusive, I need to get a Switch 2.
There is a specific fandom that will show up for that game specifically. And I'm sure they'd be
Yes.
down to play all the other stuff, but it's just like that's kind of like the game that's like, all right, now I'll finally upgrade. For that specific audience, certainly.
Splatoon.
Which
we're getting
already
a
know
new
about. Yeah.
we're getting a new Splatoon game, but it's not a traditional Splatoon game. Do you think this is going to be one that's going to get a Switch 2 update? Like whether it's free or paid, where it's like
like 3 is 3 going to get
just because Splatoon is so popular that I just feel like it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, I don't know enough about its performance profile for like what would need to be updated or changed. I mean, obviously hitting a higher resolution in handheld and docked mode, but outside of that, because it already runs at 60, right? I guess you could do 120 mode for Switch 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the performance is fine. Like it's good. Like but I just feel like because of the genre and things like that, it just makes more sense to be like, hey, like here's a free update for Switch 2 players.
Yeah, adding mouse controls maybe to the
maybe
style, because that's shooters are the mouse genre basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I could see that getting an update. Because Raiders, we don't have a year for yet, right? That they announced it, but it wasn't like this year. It was just like, hey, that's the next project. So like that could be late this year, that could be next year. I think that's at least a notable enough title that like that is going to be the next Splatoon thing, and we're probably not going to hear about 4 for a minute.
Yeah. ARMS.
I feel like ARMS is dead. I don't want to like I'm not trying to make anyone sad who loves ARMS. It's just like ARMS feels like the game that was it was a higher budget version of what is happening with like Drag X Drive, right? Like it is the first party, here's the game that highlights, like I think Drag Drive honestly is like the lower budget it is because ARMS did not live up to what I think Nintendo wanted it to. Because it is definitely like here's the game that takes advantage of the unique control style of this new system. And like, don't get me wrong, I actually think ARMS was fantastic. Like, I think that game was extremely underrated. Not nearly enough people played it or kept up with it. It's one that I actually do also wish like did better.
Mm,
But as far as I'm aware, it did not do great and did not keep a
I have my
long-lasting
copy.
audience. So
I have my copy.
if only you
Uh,
bought 27 more and then got all your friends to do the same.
yeah, no. Uh, I have nothing to say on the matter outside of like it'd be cool. I would like them to be like, let's just do it. Let's just do an Arms
I,
2 and
I
like
I think it'd be cool too. Like I think that'd be great. I honestly like I think one of the coolest things about Arms is that like I really enjoyed the character designs and like the kind of exaggerated approach they were going with a lot of them and the theming.
mm,
And I'd be down to see like I want to see new characters in a bigger roster and more people. Uh, I just don't
yeah.
I just don't know if the sauce is there. You know, if there's enough heat from the first one to have them keep going.
I'm gonna bring up one more. Oh, I'm gonna bring up two more actually.
Okay, you do
Um
realize we haven't talked about Zelda yet, right?
oh shit, we haven't talked about three more. Um three more. Famicom Detective Club.
Yeah, talk about
Uh
Back from the Dead, right?
yeah, Back from the Dead. I've heard Emio the Smiling Man is really fucking good,
Yes,
and I really want to play that game.
that is
Uh
also on my to-do
that's
list.
that is definitely one of my like top like need to cop before it's no longer available like regularly, because I feel like that is going to be an expensive game down the line.
Right.
I'm still very sad that the first two did not come out with a physical release that had the English on it. They had a physical release, just no English, sadly. But still, um, I hope that they continue that series because it's just very different and like very much outside of Nintendo's normal wheelhouse.
Yeah, MEO was last year, so I think it's going to be a little bit. Um, but
Yeah,
it'd be cool to see that like keep getting
for sure.
supported for sure.
I lied. Now three more. What was the one I wanted to bring up? Oh yeah. Rhythm Heaven slash Elite Beat Agents.
Which that is coming
We're
back
getting we're getting a new one, which I think everyone lost their minds on. That's a
again.
series I've never played, but I want to because I love rhythm
Yeah,
games. So
I mean that final Switch One Direct again was like the Switch Direct for sickos. Like that and Tomodachi Life in a single direct.
yeah.
Like I remember that direct so fondly because I forget what the other like big name games were, but like you had some people that are like, oh, this direct was fine, this game looked cool, whatever, and then all the like old school Nintendo sickos were just absolutely losing their minds, foaming at the mouth. They're just like Tomodachi Rhythm Heaven at the same. What? What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That was great. Uh this one I think okay. We're gonna do Zelda first because this one I think the next one's gonna be an interesting conversation, and I really want to know. So
Sure.
let's get Zelda out.
Yeah.
We just got Echoes of Wisdom.
Yep.
There has been rumors for a while now that we're getting an Oracle of Seasons remake. We don't know for certain if that's from Grezzo or if that's going to be from a different company developer, but that is something that has been murmurs for a long time now.
Yeah.
Uh, do you think that's going to happen? Do you think it's a real thing?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely on the table. Again, like we got the 3D remake of Awakening from Grezzo, and
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't think the Game Boy NSO was up yet when that happened, so it wasn't like oh double dipping it then. And we
Hmm.
do have Oracle of Ages and Seasons now on NSO, but I don't think that rules out, especially if they took a different approach, right? Of instead of releasing two games, it's like here's one unified, all of it in one kind of experience.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I absolutely think that's a possibility. I feel like that would be the 26 Zelda game. Like I think Zelda's one of those franchises where obviously we're not getting a mainline super often. That's a 6-7 year gap kind of thing right now, 5 at the fastest. And so because of that, Nintendo wants to keep that franchise alive, though. It's still one of their biggest franchises, and so they rely on remakes, ports, and spin off titles to keep that going. So, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is this year's Zelda game, and I think next year's Zelda game is, yeah, probably a top down remake of some sort. Uh,
I know. I will say I know that these games already exist, but I'm actually kind of surprised that Nintendo, just from like go, did the Switch 2 releases of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they definitely could have stretched that out. They definitely could have milked that.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't
but
help but
they
wonder
didn't.
I can't help but wonder if how popular it was to emulate those games on PC and show what you could do with 4K. Like that was always like the game that was used as an example of
Yeah.
like, what the Switch, how the Switch was holding back games or whatever. Uh, so I wonder if that fueled a little bit why they were like, okay, like Zelda's kind of like arguably Zelda is the tentpole game of the Switch, right? Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like those are, I think, very definitive games for that platform. And so
Yeah. They're,
bringing those updates out right
as
away, yeah.
yeah, as someone who's not great, like doesn't love Breath of the Wild,
Yeah.
that is the tentpole Switch game.
No, for
It
sure.
just is.
Like I'm the same way. It's not. I don't even like. It's not even like a top 3 for me for Zelda. But like I get it,
Yeah.
and like I understand why like it is the big deal it is, and how influential it was, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think I think that's why they just busted those out right away, because it was like those are the Switch games, and here's a reason to play Switch 2, because you can now play those in higher resolution with prettier visuals.
Yeah. Now, what about like what else is there really for Zelda that we could possibly see? Because you're a Zelda guy, I'm not. Like, do you see another like a different kind of spin-off in Zelda's future? Do you see like like a 3D remake?
So here's the problem with the 3D remake situation right now. NSO. And I know I was already saying like, oh well, the Game Boy ones, like those can be, but there's a pretty significant shift in those games going from their top-down pixel aesthetic into the 3D look that we have for like Awakening and potentially for Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I don't see as much interest in doing like a very heavy remake of any of the 3D ones really at this point, because those games are existing on NSO. I know the people were banging the drum for a while of finally bringing over Wind Waker and uh, uh,
That's so fucked up they didn't
Princess,
do that
and
though.
instead, like we got Wind Waker on GameCube NSO, and we're going to probably get Twilight Princess on there as well, and that's just going to be where those
It's
exist.
it's so fucked up.
Yeah, the only like. Yeah, 3D space, I don't see it. I could maybe see porting over or enhancing some of the other top-down ones outside of Oracle of Ages and Seasons. Like there is Link Between Worlds on the 3DS, trapped on there now.
Mm.
Obviously, there were other in-between games, like there were the Wind Waker DS games that came out after.
Triforce Heroes.
True, we haven't had a co-op focused one in a minute. Triforce Heroes was like
Oh,
last one.
you're talking about Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I thought you were
Yes.
talking. I immediately thought you were talking about Triforce
No,
Heroes.
but like Triforce Heroes is part of like a legacy of a style of Zelda game that we haven't gotten since
Sure.
Triforce Heroes. So
Sure.
it wouldn't necessarily
No,
have
that's
to
fair.
be that title, but like, that and Four Swords, like that kind of type of game. We haven't gotten one in a while. So that absolutely could actually be something they tap into with an upcoming release.
Anything else that might come to your mind about Zelda?
Not really. Like I think Zelda is an IP they are willing to take a couple more risks with, like we saw with Cadence of Hyrule. I would love for them to do that more. I think a top-down 2D remake type situation is the best bet for next year, but I would love to be wrong and have them do anything weird with it.
Yeah.
I know the one thing a lot of people cling to sometimes is the tactics game that we found out about that was pitched by I think Retro. I think Retro pitched it and Nintendo didn't go for it. And I know a lot of people are like, please just do that. Like make that a reality. Like why not? That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
I think Zelda is an IP that is in some ways under tapped into. Like I think there's a lot of room to do stuff in that setting, in that style, in other genres that Nintendo just hasn't been.
Now the last IP I wanted to talk about, and there are some that we didn't particularly talk about, like Bayonetta, which is kind of like that gray area, right?
It's platinum,
And we know
but
that
like, yeah.
yeah, we know we're getting another Bayonetta. Like that's been. I'm pretty sure that's been confirmed. But yeah, I definitely would expect that. But I want to talk about a different Platinum IP, Astral Chain.
Yeah.
And there's because I think Astral Chain is, technically third party studio, but first party IP. And I think it's one of the best games to come out from first party on the Switch. I thought it was like I still haven't finished it, but I really loved my time with it. I think it's a very unique action game. It's not perfect. There are some gripes I have with it, but really, really loved it.
Yeah.
And the reason, the one thing that's worth noting is that the director of the IP left the studio, and so that is definitely like a hey, where does that fall?
Yeah.
But I also like I think we should put into perspective that uh Kamiya did Bayonetta 1 as director, but did not direct Bayonetta 2 or 3. Yes, he was a supervisor, as which totally makes sense, but I don't think that Astral Chain is that kind of IP where you really need to have like the same guy in charge to be able to make a great
Yeah,
game.
I mean the bones are there, right? And
Yeah.
we've had one release, and like you can say that one release was as good as it was because of that particular director's involvement, but we really don't actually have a way to prove that, right? Like
Yeah.
until another one were to happen without him, and you're like, oh wait, yeah, this is missing something. Like there's some sauce that was here that is not here anymore. Uh, yeah, it's also just a question of what Platinum's overall doing right now, right? If the idea is that this is an IP that exists, where Nintendo is the IP holder, but Platinum is consistently the developer forever and always for it. Because I know there's been a lot of general worry about Platinum, and there was that kind of funny timing where everyone was like, "Is Platinum dying?" And then suddenly they announced like 4 games with Xbox, uh, and like it's cool they do have other stuff coming out that's being worked on, um, but it does raise the question still of like what does the overall kind of healthy profile of Platinum look like, and how many more titles are we seeing coming from them in the next 5 years. uh I thought Astral Chain
Yeah.
was fantastic. I would certainly be down for Platinum and Nintendo to work again together on that. um I think it's more of like there's just kind of eyes right now on Platinum and how they're doing, and how the next so many years are going to look like.
Definitely. And I think that Astral Chain is an example of a IP where like, hey, yes, Nintendo may own this IP, but this is a Platinum game. Like this is a game that they made that they wanted to make that Nintendo just happened to be like, hey, we want to, you know, publish this game. We want to have this IP, and if it's successful, then we want to continue on. And like Nintendo made it clear, like Nintendo said that they want more Astral Chain, and that was like shortly after that game came out.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think that we're gonna get an Astral Chain too. Um, we know that they're working on Ninja Gaiden 4. Um, they're probably working on the next Bayonetta,
Yeah, the
but
only confirmed thing outside of Ninja Gaiden 4, and even confirmed is a loose term for this, they have another game called Project GG that was announced, but we don't really know any great details about. Uh,
mm,
and that is something that was announced like I think 2 years ago, maybe last year. Uh, and we just don't really know what the actual plan for that long term is right now. So yeah, like other than Ninja Gaiden 4, we don't actually have any other hard announced like big things on the horizon. I agree with you that I think Bayonetta is something else they're probably working on, something with that IP. But
and they might be working on whatever the next Near is. That is also like not outside the realm of possibility.
true.
Uh, so there's definitely things that they could be working on, and I looked it up because I wanted to be sure, like, or just to get a idea. But the studio is probably size wise is floating around 300, and so um that is definitely a sizable team, and so I'm curious as to if they're because Astral Chain came out in 2019, I believe. So it's been a while.
Yeah,
And
it's
I think
2019.
that, yeah, I think that I would not be surprised if within the next year or two we got an Astral Chain 2. But
Yeah, I'd
who
buy
knows?
that. Like, not just in the sense of I would buy the game when it comes out, but I mean, like, yeah, like I'd be willing to believe that like that's something that could be on the horizon. I think my only hang up is again like just like I don't know. There was an awful lot of doom and gloom about Platinum. You know, not even a year ago, like 6 months ago. Uh,
Yeah.
and Ninja Gaiden 4 has like reinstilled a lot of excitement and like looking forward to stuff from them. Uh, but with how much talent has left, there's just that hanging question of like how much stuff are they working on actively right now?
Yeah. Agreed. But we'll just have to wait and see. That's it, everybody, for this week's show. We talked a lot longer than I thought we were going
And we
to.
didn't even bring up Nintendogs. Like, come on. So many things we
Oh,
could have
yeah.
just talked about.
No Nintendogs, no Punch Out, no Pilot Wings, but
I mean,
I
actually, Punch
mean,
Out is something I would argue for. Because who was that? That was Next Level, right? That did Punch Out. So, like, maybe that's a sports game that comes out. I'd be down. Do it again. It was great.
okay, maybe, yeah, sure. Thank you everybody for listening to the podcast for this week. We appreciate everyone who comes in and listens to us yap for an undisclosed period of time. Kevin, do you have anything for the people before we dip out?
Nope. I'm going to go to bed.
Same. Well, actually, no. I have to do some work before I go to bed. You can follow me on socials at Cam Final Mix. You can follow Kevin on socials at Kevin Kenson. Thank you everybody for listening, and until next time, we'll catch you later.
Later.